my name is Justin Hatt, and I did a graphic identity project for Romie Lane Pet Hospital. My advisor is Bobby Long. Alright, for my client for the Romie Lane Pet Hospital, is the people that actually own the pet hospital is a couple, and that couple owns the practice and the business. That is roughly $1 million business to actually own. So with that being a lot of money, they actually don't have that much money left with marketing. So they lack the marketing materials, such as stationery or logos. And the other issue that they have is we get people that come to our pet hospital thinking it's an actual real hospital, because we just don't really have a very good logo that represents that we're a pet hospital. The other issue is there's 8 pet hospitals in Salinas just alone, so they don't really have any marketing or way of showing that who they are or versus other competitors. So my solution was to actually create a logo that represents that they're actually a pet hospital versus a real hospital, and make a logo that actually is easy to see from the streets and use on other sources of media. In order to start that process, I had to do a few things, and the first step was to do some research. So what I did is I looked at other surrounding pet hospitals and looked at their logos, and I looked at their stationery and websites to get an idea of what actually represents a pet hospital. So then I took my ideas and I started to do some sketchings of what I thought a pet hospital was. And I took those ideas and then tried to make some concepts of what my logos might look like. I then took those logos and made them digital, and I had some examples right here that I came up with. These are the final logos that I actually made, and the very one at the bottom is the one that the client actually picked for the final logo. For the final logo, I actually took the logo and used it for the marketing materials. Here are the marketing materials that I actually used and applied it with. I have the stationery, the envelope, and business card. They also needed an actual website, so I got them a functioning website. I made them a flyer to show for their clientele some important information. And the big key thing was I actually made them appointment cards, because that really helps them a lot with getting clientele to actually show up for the exams, and future clientele to actually know which pet hospital they're going to, and has their contact information. I made some other cards that they had that they used for marketing materials, such as Puppy of the Day, which is boarding, and a $10 gift certificate for new clientele. I also made them a newsletter that they actually printed out 1,000 copies, and they handed it to their clientele. The other thing that I made is some signage. This is the most important thing, because we're actually located in a place that's hard to find, and it's tucked back in the location. We actually had clientele that have always lived in Salinas, and they never knew that we actually were there. So I think actually the best thing for them is the signage to actually represent where they are. I also made some applications. I put the logo, put it on a t-shirt and a card. The doctor actually does house calls, so he can actually take this logo or put it on the magnet of the car and just go around and do his house calls. Here's the tools that I actually used to create my project. I used CS5, I used Photoshop for image manipulation, I used Illustrator for making the logos, and InDesign for creating the newsletter. I really learned a lot doing this project. It really gave me the insight of the working skills of what it's like to be in the real world, to actually have a client, and what it's like to actually have the teachers if they were actually managers, and they really kept track of how to keep me on time and do my tasks. I'd like to give my special thanks to actually people that helped me. I had the advisors, Kevin Cahill and Bobby Long, and I'd like to thank my actual client, Mary Ponder, and the other students that were in my classes that actually helped me critique and evaluate my designs and logos. If you guys have any questions, you can feel free to come to room 160 and see my design.